Hello everyone, I'm Advocate Nikhita Kohli, Assistant Vice President at NRI Legal Services. A very warm welcome to our today's Ask Me Anything session, wherein we will be taking up a very important topic that concerns many NRIs, which is the importance of due diligence with regard to property transactions. Buying a property, managing a property or selling a property in India while residing abroad, it can be very challenging. And even a small oversight can lead to financial and legal troubles. Today we will discuss the most important mistakes, I would say most common mistakes that the NRIs commit and how they can avoid them. I would like my colleagues to introduce themselves to you.
Yes, hello everyone. This is Advocate Alicia Monga, Senior Legal Associate at NRI Legal Services.
Hello viewers, this side Advocate Ramandeep Kaur, working as a Legal Associate at NRI Legal Services.
Guys, please feel free to drop your questions as we go along. We'll keep answering them. Okay, before we dive into the details, let us take a moment to understand what exactly is due diligence and why it is crucial. Due diligence refers to the comprehensive investigation and basically evaluation process that a buyer or an investor undertakes before purchasing a property. Why it becomes crucial? It is crucial because it covers all the aspects relevant to the property, and basically we need to understand that all those aspects are thoroughly understood, allowing a buyer to basically make an informed decision and mitigate the potential risks. Now, whether you're buying a new property, inheriting a property or selling a new one, property title search is very important, basically, which is called due diligence. Due diligence is I would say a larger basically representation of how we are going to move forward. Now coming to the key components, we'll take up all the key components which are involved in a due diligence. The first and the foremost is the property title search, which means verification of ownership. Now, why property title search is important? Property title search basically involves checking the land records, previous sale deeds and encumbrance certificates related to a property. Why it is important now? To understand whether when you are investing in a property or selling your property, the title has to be clear. Many NRIs, they think that when a seller is claiming an ownership over a property, that ownership is valid, but that's not the case. It leads to legal disputes and issues between the parties. So property title search becomes very important. And one common mistake which NRIs basically they make most of the times, that they trust the verbal assurances and they trust the outdated revenue records, which should not be done. That's where a professional lawyer comes into picture, or a proper law firm which should be hired to conduct a proper title search related to a property.
Rightly said, Advocate Nikhita. Let's move on to the next important component, which is valuation. Property valuation, government rate versus market rate. Now, often NRIs make mistake. Why? Because they overpay for a property or they underestimate a property's worth due to lack of knowledge regarding the government rates and value rates. So the common mistake what they make is that they rely solely on the buyer's or the seller's quote without having to done any independent verification or investigation. So to curb this mistake, what they can do is they can again hire experts, certified valuators, government consultants, and only after due diligence should they enter into financial transactions. Now here, one very important thing that I would like to mention is that a certain price should be mutually agreed between the parties, and a seller should only be concerned to that value. Now you never know, the person who is purchasing the property from you is an investor or he's the end user. Exactly. So you never know that a person might purchase a property from you at a fixed rate, and then he can execute further certain different agreements for the profitable gain.
Also, I would like to add here that why the property valuation is so important, that it gives the confidence to the purchaser and a buyer both, that they are buying and are selling at a very right price.
Exactly. So the third component I would like to take is that granting of power of attorneys. So the NRIs again, who are miles away, right? They have to get their transactions done. They have to manage their affairs, for which they execute power of attorneys in the favor of their relatives, friends. Now again, a common mistake that the NRIs do is that they give unrestricted powers to their relatives in these power of attorneys without any legal safeguard. So we've had certain examples, if you remember, that wherein a client of ours, she gave a power of attorney to her nephew. Why? Because she wanted a residential house. So her nephew took the power of attorney. He sold her certain other commercial properties, and rather than purchasing the residential plot in his aunt's name, he purchased in his own name. And it was only after 9 years, when our client visited herself in India, she got to know regarding this fraud, right? So the solution to this is that when you execute these power of attorneys, you should always give limited powers in these power of attorneys to your relatives. And you should follow the proper due procedure that is in the country where you're getting these power of attorneys executed. You should get them notarized, apostilled, and once they are in India, before enforcement, you should get them properly embossed. And most importantly, once the assigned task is completed, you should immediately get these power of attorneys revoked. Right?
Here I would like to add on one opinion. I would say, see, बहुत बार क्या होता है कि power of attorney हम देते हैं, limited rights of course, as Alicia has mentioned, specific power of attorney limited rights के लिए है. अगर sale के लिए दे रहे हैं आप, general power of attorney कई बार देनी भी पड़ जाती है. लेकिन in those cases, please try to ensure the person should be trusted. एक आपकी अवेयरनेस होनी बहुत जरूरी है, और जिसको आप पावर ऑफ अटॉर्नी दे रहे हैं, दैट पर्सन शुड बी ट्रस्टेड पर्सन. एंड आप एटलीस्ट जिसके साथ भी आप इन्वॉल्व हो रहे हैं, थर्ड पार्टी जिसके साथ अपने ट्रांजेक्शन में इन्वॉल्व होना है, जस्ट मेक श्योर दैट एटलीस्ट यू आर इन टच विद दैट पर्सन. आप सिर्फ पावर ऑफ अटॉर्नी दे के भूल मत जाइए, बिकॉज आधी से ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम होती ही है कि पावर ऑफ अटॉर्नी दे के बैठे हैं और उस पर हो क्या रहा है, दे आर नॉट अवेयर ऑफ इट. सो जस्ट दैट काइंड ऑफ अवेयरनेस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ट्राई टू इंश्योर दैट काइंड ऑफ अवेयरनेस दैट you guys are having it.
Totally agree.
So another aspect to this is that incomplete documentation. So this is a very important point. So what NRI face these issues because they don't have a complete and proper documentation while purchasing, selling, or inheriting the property. And this one mistake which NRI commonly make is that is assuming that the all property or a verbal agreement or a family agreements are sufficient, but which is not. So the only solution to this is to ensure all the necessary documentation are in order, including sale deeds, mutation entries, tax receipts, and etc. So when I see the mutation entries, it is very important to add here that a mutation entry by meaning is that the municipal records or a revenue records, and it totally varies on state to states, but however, based solely on the sale deed, you cannot assure the title of the property. You need to check the current record of the property before proceeding ahead with the sale or purchasing any land. And one additional topic to this is not updating the revenue records. So even after purchasing the property or inheriting the property, NRI forget to update the revenue records, and this is a very important aspect. So this is a very common mistake which NRI do, is that assuming that registering a sale deed is enough, which is not, because you always have to updating the revenue record.
Exactly.
Because when even if you don't do at the stage of buying the property, but when you go to sell that property, you will face a very long procedure to update the revenue record, and it also comes with a limitation to update the sale.
It's better आप timely वो करवा ले updation. That's very important. Mutation entries करवा लेना is very important. So try that you get the mutation records also updated after the execution of any kind of document. Right. Then moving on to another key component, I'll take it up with you, is that checking the possession of the property. Again, the most important issue with NRIs is that possession. तो ये दो situations, I'll explain it that way, that when you're buying a property, so when an NRI is investing or buying a property in India, they should appoint someone to check the physical status of the property. That is most commonly commonly happens in the cases of consumer disputes. Builders के साथ, they invest in the properties, and builders they show different kind of brochures and videos and sample basically the constructions, but on ground the property is not even made at all. So it's better to get the physical inspection done of the property and send someone, your local person, or hire someone to get that physical inspection done. That is one scenario. Another would be if you already have a property you have inherited from your parents or your forefathers, then in that situation you should always keep a check कि क्या होता है, पेरेंट्स देख रहे होते हैं प्रॉपर्टी में, आफ्टर द डेथ ऑफ द पेरेंट्स द लीगल हेयर्स कम इनटू पिक्चर, दे आर नॉट इवन अवेयर कि प्रॉपर्टी की सिचुएशन क्या है, किस कंडीशन में है, हु इज इन द पोजेशन ऑफ द प्रॉपर्टी. So in that scenario, checking the possession of the property becomes very important to avoid any illegal occupation of the property, wherein most important topic of adverse possession will come into picture. They can claim, adverse possession over the property if it exceeds the 12 years time period. Again, adverse possession is entirely a different topic that we can take up later on in any of our videos. So that is something, just to avoid that, try and have a proper control over the possession of the property.
Right.
Right. So the next I would like to take up is that you have to take proper legal action within the limitation period. Right. So NRIs again who are sitting far away, sometimes they cause unnecessarily delays in taking the legal actions. And they should keep in mind that these legal claims are subject to limitations. They are governed by the Limitation Act. Now, why these NRIs cause unnecessarily delay in filing legal actions is because there is a lot of emotional turmoil, because dispute majorly involves between the family members, closed one, and more so also due to the lack of confidence in the legal system, right? And if you do so, tomorrow if you go into the court of law after the time bar, you can be called as a sleeping litigant. It can be considered as an afterthought, and the opposite party can take the advantage and can take the plea of time barred. So to curb this, you should immediately take a help from the expert when any such legal issue arises. Right.
Okay.
We have questions.
Anything, just check.
Yes, we have a question. Okay, so what's first question? How can I verify the title of a property before buying it?
I'll take up that question. That is okay. See, property title again, जैसे मैंने explain करा है starting में, it is very important to check the title of the property. You can check the land records, previous sale deeds that has been executed till date, or what all say, the chain of documents basically, that should be checked. Encumbrance certificates, again a very important document that needs to be checked to ensure whether there is any pending loans, mortgages, or any litigation upon the property. Those needs to be checked. Also, to cross verify these records, one needs to also check with the sub registrar's office. You can just go check and whether the records are updated and whose name the property is reflected. So that's how you can verify the title records. Again, property title search comes into picture. You can hire a professional, a law firm, or a lawyer to get a proper title search done of a property. They are professionals, they know how to do it, and they will get it verified for you. So that's how you can get the property verification done.
Very rightly said, Nikhita. मेरे पिताजी ने एक प्रॉपर्टी छोड़ी थी पर रिकॉर्ड्स अपडेटेड नहीं है, कैसे वेरीफाई कर सकते हैं? Okay, so I would like to take this question. First of all, thank you Yashika for the question. So अगर आपके पिताजी ने एक प्रॉपर्टी छोड़ी है तो सबसे पहले आपका म्यूटेशन रिकॉर्ड चेक कराना पड़ेगा, जिसमें आप लीगल हेयर सर्टिफिकेट और इनकम्बरेंस सर्टिफिकेट चेक करने होगा. आपका जो भी लोकल रेवेन्यू डिपार्टमेंट है, आपको वहां जाके पहले चेक करना पड़ेगा कि इस टाइम पे, आज के टाइम पे प्रॉपर्टी किसके नाम पे है, और अगर वो आपके पिताजी के नाम पे और आपका नेम अभी तक उसमें म्यूटेट नहीं हुआ है तो आपको उसके लिए प्रॉपर लीगल प्रोसेस फॉलो करना पड़ेगा, विच इज लाइक इट टोटली वेरीज अपॉन स्टेट टू स्टेट. सबका एक लीगल प्रोसेस होता है टू म्यूटेट द नेम ऑफ द लीगल हेयर्स ऑफ द करंट डिसीज्ड ओनर ऑफ द प्रॉपर्टी. So yes, another question.
We have another question.
Yes. What is an encumbrance certificate and why it is important for NRIs?
I'll take up this one. Yeah, I'll do that. Basically, encumbrance certificate, EC जिसको बोलते हैं, encumbrance certificate is a very crucial document. This document ensures that there are no basically whether there are any pending litigations, mortgages, or any legal disputes upon the property. So it ensures the property, if it's free, encumbrance certificate, if shows that the property is free from any kind of litigation, then that becomes a very important document. And we always ask our NRI clients, and of course we suggest the clients also to obtain the encumbrance certificate for the last 15 to 20 years to have a proper verification upon the property. So it becomes very important to ensure the property is free from any kind of financial liabilities. So that's where the encumbrance certificate comes into picture.
Okay, so we have another question from Sunita Devi. इंडिया विच एग्रीकल्चर लैंड NRIs ਲਈ ਖਰੀਦਣ ਲਈ लीगल है या नहीं?
ओके एग्रीकल्चर लैंड ये
Right.
अगेन ये भी बिकॉज हमारे पंजाब में भी ऑफ कोर्स देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ इश्यूज विद एग्रीकल्चर लैंड. नो, again answer is no. The agricultural land NRIs cannot purchase an agricultural land in India. However, they can totally inherit from their family members or of course from their father or forefathers. They can inherit it, but they cannot purchase an agricultural land in India. इसकी जो रिस्ट्रिक्शंस है कई जगह पे फेमा के अंडर भी है एंड ऑल्सो देयर आर सर्टेन स्टेट्स ऑल्सो स्टेट लॉज भी हैं जो कि प्रोहिबिट करते हैं फॉर NRIs टू परचेज एग्रीकल्चर लैंड इन इंडिया.
Okay, yes. So we have another question from Mr. Kamal. ਜੇ ਮੈਂ ਇਨਹੈਰਿਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਮਕਾਨ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਾਮ ਤੇ ਟ੍ਰਾਂਸਫਰ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਾਂ? So I guess Alicia
yeah, I can take up that question. ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਨਹੈਰਿਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਮਕਾਨ, ਹਾਊਸ, ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰਟੀ ਵਟਐਵਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਕਰਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਯੂ ਨੀਡ ਟੂ ਕਲੈਕਟ ਸਰਟਨ ਰਿਕੁਇਜ਼ਿਟ ਡਾਕੂਮੈਂਟਸ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਿ ਲੀਗਲ ਏਅਰ ਸਰਟੀਫਿਕੇਟ, ਡੈਥ ਸਰਟੀਫਿਕੇਟ, ਮਿਊਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੰਸਰਨ ਰੈਵਨਿਊ ਡਿਪਾਰਟਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ. ਤੇ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਵਿਲ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਫੇਵਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵਿਲ ਵੀ ਐਗਜ਼ੀਕਿਊਟ ਕਰਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ. ਅਦਰਵਾਈਜ਼ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਮੈਂਬਰਸ ਦੀ ਜਾਂ ਅਦਰ ਲੀਗਲ ਏਅਰਸ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਸਹਿਮਤੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੋਏਗੀ ਇਹ ਟ੍ਰਾਂਸਫਰ ਕਰਾਉਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ.
Rightly said, Alicia. We
Yeah.
have question from Ashok Kumar. How can I avoid paying unnecessary stamp duty while purchasing property?
Right, I think I will take up that
Alicia,
question.
the stamp duty is another favorite topic.
Yeah. So, Mr. Ashok, for stamp duty, firstly, you should have proper due diligence, right? Because stamp duties varies from state to state, right? And some states, offer reduced stamp duties to the females and to the senior citizens, right? And also you should keep in mind that you should get the property registered in the actual rate, so as to avoid paying extra stamp duty. You like to add something in?
बस यही है कि देखिए स्टैम्प ड्यूटी आप अवॉइड नहीं कर सकते. If the document requires a stamp duty, certain amount of stamp duty to be paid, the stamp duty has to be paid. Only the ratio may change based on the gender on which in whose name the property has to be registered. Female के separate है, males का separate है, and then if it is in a joint name, then it's separate. So that's how the stamp duty will vary it.
Right. So we have question from Sonam Nora. What are risk of incomplete property documentation? So ma'am, I guess it is related to titles also.
Again,
Right.
the topic which Raman took up just now, that incomplete documentation NRIs cases
Right.
mein it's very common. It's very common because they do not, most of the times we keep on dealing with these situations that they do not have the complete documentation regarding the property. We always advise them to have a proper chain of documents, how their father, basically if the property is in the name of their father and the father has died, how the father has acquired the property. The complete chain of documents is must. And if there is a will, the will has to be legible and they should be aware of the witnesses of the will, how they are going to be getting the will proved. So the complete documentation is very important. Incomplete documentation will always lead to legal disputes and issues in future. So documents complete rakhna is a must.
Yes. So we have question from Sanjit Malik. क्या किसी को POA देना safe है? Another
POA. Yeah.
It's a burning topic.
It is actually POA again. NRI cases, we are taking it up from that perspective that POA mostly NRIs देते हैं इंडिया में अपने ट्रस्टेड representatives को, basically अपने कभी local person को, friends को. Safety जो है power of attorney की, that entirely depends upon the person who's giving the power of attorney and who's having the power of attorney. जो power of attorney ले रहा है, that person has to be a trusted person. Like Alicia had rightly mentioned in the beginning as well that power of attorney दो टाइप की है. वो कौन सी power of attorney दे रहे हैं, powers कौन सी दे रहे हैं, that should be taken into consideration. And the person who's giving the power of attorney should be very vigilant. He should not be sitting as it is and given the power of attorney and get away with it. Should be very vigilant, very aware of the power of attorney to whom the other person has given the power of attorney. So the safety entirely depends upon how you are dealing with it and to whom you are giving the power of attorney.
And as I previously mentioned, once the assigned tasks are completed, you should immediately directly follow the revocation process of the power of attorney so that they can't misuse the power of attorney in the future for future transactions.
Also, the constant communication is also plays a very important role in this.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally agree.
Okay, so another question is from Arpana Kapoor. NRI बैंक अकाउंट की जरूरत प्रॉपर्टी ट्रांजैक्शन लिए किवे होगी? Yes, NRI can only conduct a property transaction through their NRI or NRO accounts. Payment should be routed through a proper, banking channels to comply with FAMA guidelines. So I hope this clarify your query. So we have question from Anmol Mithil. How do I check if I am overpaying for my property?
I think I will take up this question.
It's regarding
So, Anmol, you can check, you can actually compare the circle rate, the government value with the market value, with the prevalent current market value, because market value keeps on changing, keeps on fluctuating. It is based on various factors such as location, demand, amenities, etc. So you can take an expert's help who can give you a certified valuation, government rate and the market rate, and then you can compare the both.
Okay, so क्या गवर्नमेंट रेट और मार्केट रेट में फर्क होता है? अगर हाँ तो कैसे पता करें?
किसने पूछा ये क्वेश्चन?
ये है मिस्टर सौरभ सक्सेना.
ऑलराइट, तो सौरभ जी, गवर्नमेंट रेट और मार्केट रेट में जैसे मैंने बताया फर्क होता है. गवर्नमेंट रेट जो है वो गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से तय किया जाता है, एक फिक्स्ड रेट होता है, जबकि जो मार्केट रेट है जैसे मैंने बताया वो फ्लक्चुएट होता रहता है डिमांड के अकॉर्डिंग, लोकेशन के अकॉर्डिंग, एमिनिटीज के अकॉर्डिंग, तो उनमें काफी फर्क होता है.
Okay, so there is another question from Lalit Chabra. Can I register my property remotely while staying abroad? I would like to take this question. Okay, so Mr. Chabra, yes, you can take, you can register your property remotely while staying in abroad. You can grant a legal attested power of attorney to a trusted person who can execute transaction of your property. So again, as mentioned by Alicia many of times, that the person should be trusted. So this is the main key point of that in the topic of power of attorney, the person should be trusted, constant communication, and once the task is done, the revocation of deed is also very important.
आई थिंक जो हमारा आज का जो टॉपिक ही है, बेसिकली द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ ड्यू डिलिजेंस इज इटसेल्फ स्पीकिंग इन इटसेल्फ इज दैट अवेयरनेस कि ड्यू डिलिजेंस आप प्रॉपर्टी पे रख रहे हैं, पावर ऑफ अटॉर्नी जिसको दे रहे हैं वो ट्रस्टेड होना चाहिए. आप अपने टाइटल जो है उसके साथ अवेयरनेस कितनी रख रहे हैं कि टाइटल, अपडेटेड टाइटल्स पे कितना ध्यान दे रहे हैं. सो द होल टॉपिक बेसिकली इज डिपेंडेंट अपॉन हाउ मच अवेयर आर यू एंड हाउ मच आर यू विजिलेंट टू गेट इन टच विद द people who you have appointed even as a caretaker or the local representative of yours.
Actually, I totally agree. Today's topic revolves around awareness.
Yeah, right.
You should be quite proactive. I would just like to cite a recent example. One of our client, right, whose father died long back, and the property is lying vacant. The ownership record is not updated, and now many people are trying to create third-party rights. So it is very important that you are aware, you are proactive, especially when it comes to the property rights.
Exactly.
Right. So we
Do
have,
we have
another question from Surbhi Sharma. How do I check if someone has illegally occupied my property? So I would like to take this question. So you can verify property tax records, visit the property time to time, and the easiest method in this is you should avoid traveling to India again and again. You can appoint a caretaker, but one aspect when it comes to caretaker point I would like to add here is that while you're appointing a caretaker, the written agreement is very important.
Exactly.
When you are appointing a caretaker, you must ensure that you come to India, appoint a caretaker, and register a proper written agreement with him, so that he cannot take the advantage of absence of that agreement in future.
Exactly.
Right.
Totally.
So we have another question from Satyadeep Singh. Limitation period property disputes के लिए कितना होता है?
ऑलराइट, आई थिंक मैं ये क्वेश्चन आंसर करूंगी. तो सत्यदीप, ऐसा होता है लिमिटेशन पीरियड भी डिपेंड करता है ऑन डिस्प्यूट टू डिस्प्यूट, राइट. लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल ओनरशिप के डिस्प्यूट्स जो होते हैं अराउंड 12 इयर्स. देन हमारे जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बेस्ड डिस्प्यूट्स होते हैं उनका होता है अराउंड 3 इयर्स. आपके कंज्यूमर डिस्प्यूट्स होते हैं 2 इयर्स. सो इट वेरीज डिफरेंट डिस्प्यूट टू डिस्प्यूट. ऑल्दो आई वुड से कल को अगर आप कोर्ट जा रहे हैं, आप एप्लीकेशन भी मूव कर सकते हैं फॉर कॉन्डोनेशन ऑफ डिले और फॉर एग्जाम्पशन फ्रॉम लिमिटेशन, बट आप ये माइंड में रखिए कि वो कोर्ट की डिस्क्रिप्शन है कि वो आपको एग्जाम्पशन देते हैं या नहीं देते. सो इन टोटल आई वुड से कि इट्स बेटर कि अगर आप लिमिटेशन के में रहते हुए ही अपने डिस्प्यूट पे इमीडिएट एक्शन लें, लीगल हेल्प सीख करें.
बेसिकली रीजनेबल, अगर आप अवेयरनेस आप बैठे हुए हैं और मतलब इट वाज वेरी apparent on the face of it that you could have known about the dispute,
Yes.
और फिर भी आप कुछ नहीं कर रहे हैं, then again of course as Risha said, discretion of the court. But ऐसी situations में where it was very apparent on the face of it कि knowledge होगी, पता चल सकता था, and in those situations of course limitation may not be condoned. So,
Yeah, totally.
So we have another question from Sumaira Joy. Can you share a specific list of documents required for NRI to buy a property in India?
डॉक्यूमेंटेशन की बात है तो आई जस्ट टेक अप दिस वन दैट सी एनआरआईज है तो एक द वैलिड पासपोर्ट हैज टू बी देयर, ओसीआई और पीआईओ कार्ड हैज टू बी देयर, एक सेल सेलिंग के लिए है प्रॉपर्टी,
yes.
तो अगर प्रॉपर्टी सेल एक प्रॉपर सेल एग्रीमेंट हैज टू बी देयर, एंड इफ द एनआरआई इज नॉट फिजिकली प्रेजेंट इन इंडिया देन अ लीगली अटेस्टेड and embossed, जो इंडिया में आके पावर ऑफ अटॉर्नी होगी, that needs to be embossed in India as well. A legally attested power of attorney should also be there. So all these documents are very important while getting into a sale by an NRI. So all these documents are required.
Okay, we have another question from Neeraj Kashyap. Should I physically inspect the property or local caretaker is enough?
Guys, I'll take this question up, right? So again, having said that, again that it's difficult for the NRIs again and again to visit India and physically invest, conduct inspection on their properties. But it is advisable जब भी आप visit कर रहे हैं इंडिया, तब तो आप खुद से investigation करिए ही करिए, और in your absence you can keep a point of caretaker who can take care of the property. But जैसे कि रमन ने बोला पहले, right? Raman as rightly said that you should not keep the caretaker verbally. उनके साथ कुछ आप written में जरूर execute कीजिए so that आपको future में कोई as such issues ना आए.
इसमें एक पॉइंट आई वुड लाइक टू एड ऑन दैट इन केसेस ऑफ वेकेंट लैंड, जैसे कि फिजिकल इन्वेस्टिगेशन इज ऑल्सो अ पार्ट ऑफ सी वी एज अ फर्म ऑल्सो कंडक्ट ड्यू डिलिजेंस, टाइटल सर्चेस वी मेक. फिजिकल इन्वेस्टिगेशन अगेन इज वन ऑफ द वेरी की कॉम्पोनेंट ऑफ दैट रिपोर्ट एज वेल. तो फिजिकल इन्वेस्टिगेशन अगर आप प्रोफेशनली भी करवा रहे हैं, सो दैट नीड्स टू बी इंश्योर्ड कि आप किसी प्रोफेशनल से करवाएं अगर आप खुद नहीं आ पा रहे हैं. और उसमें एक इम्पॉर्टेंट पॉइंट जो मैं बोलने लगी थी, दैट वाज रिगार्डिंग द वेकेंट लैंड. इफ देयर इज अ लैंड विच इज वेकेंट, इट इज बेटर टू गेट द प्रॉपर डिमार्केशन ऑफ द लैंड एंड एक बाउंड्री वॉल मेंटेन हो उसकी, क्योंकि कई बार ऐसा होता है आपके साथ वाली प्रॉपर्टी किसी भी साइड की प्रॉपर्टी होती है, दे कैन एनक्रोच over your share and they can over construct and they can illegally trespass over your share of the property. So it's better you get a boundary wall, there's a proper gate and a lock, so that's how you can maintain the property. At least एक physical possession आप एक property के ऊपर claim कर सकते हैं, and अगर उसका key you can put it with somebody locally, or of course you can keep one another key, duplicate key with yourself. So that's how you can at least try to protect your property as well. Right?
Having said that, I would again like to cite a recent experience that we had, since we as a firm we provide end-to-end services.
Right.
So one of our client, his matter was going under litigation, and we time and again we keep on physically investigation the property of our clients. So we found out that that illegal occupant has now vacated the property.
Oh yeah.
So then we immediately went over the property, we put our own locks and got hold the possession of the property, and we withdrew the matter in the court. So that you can now see the importance of physical investigation, right?
Yeah.
Very well said, Nisha. We have another question from Mr. Prabella. मेरे भाई इंडिया में प्रॉपर्टी बेच रहा है बिना मेरी परमिशन के, क्या कर सकता हूँ? सो आई वुड लाइक टू टेक दिस क्वेश्चन. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, अगर आप ओनर है प्रॉपर्टी में, तो जो आपके साइन के बिना जो भी सेल ट्रांजेक्शन होगी वो इलीगल होगी. सो आप उसको रोकने के लिए आप ये कर सकते हैं कि आप कोर्ट को अप्रोच करें और एक इंजंक्शन एप्लीकेशन फाइल करें, विच इज अ स्टे एप्लीकेशन, so that court will direct your brother to put the property on a stay, and he cannot further sell the property without your signature. And alongside, what you can do is you can send a legal notice to him which clearly state that you are aware of this scenario, his intention of selling the land without your signature, and and you can take the legal actions in future, right?
I think for today, I think if there will be any questions,
Right.
we can
take
it
up,
up
yeah,
later,
yes,
and you
right.
can also shoot your questions at query@nrilegalservices.com. The topic, I think we pretty much covered a lot of the aspects for today, and if there is any other query, please do write to us, and I hope you were pretty much clear, and
Yes.
we hope we were able to basically put out there everything what we had regarding the due diligence. Guys, you want to
Yeah,
put out
and you can
something?
just follow us, like
Right.
our page, subscribe us for more such informative videos.
Yeah, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.